Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yo, what up, what up? It's your boy Rubino.
And this DJ in the building.
And you listening to the UpNUp Podcast.
Yeah.
Wait, what are we doing?
I don't know, just listen.
Yes. Welcome.
What it do?
Ladies and gentlemen, you're tuning to the UpNUp Podcast. I'm your host, Rubino.
And I'm DJ man.
DJ man.
What's up?
How you doing, man?
I'm good.
Welcome to 2019.
Yep. Happy New Year's to
Happy
everybody.
New Year's to everybody out there. Man, can we get a round of applause for 2019? Let's just get that out the way right now. All right, man. Do you got any New Year's resolutions? Anything that's like, you don't got to share all of them, but
I'm going to just try to support everybody, wear everybody's clothes that has clothing or anything like that.
Any businesses.
Yeah. I'm going to cut down on Nike and look out for the homies that are like putting stuff out.
Okay. That's good. Are you asking me what any of mine are?
No, I want to shout out Sam Barber. And yeah. So what about you?
Okay. Yeah, shout out to Barber. If you don't know who that
My
is.
bad. Shout out to Sizzle though, because Sizzle actually was the one that said he's going to start wearing more people's stuff too.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, more support for 2019. Yeah, I don't got a lot. I think one of the main ones is just trying to spend more time with family. That's one thing.
Yeah.
I think we all get busy. We all stay on the up and up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Sometimes you lose track of that. But first and foremost, I do want to welcome all the listeners. Thank you for tuning in. This is the podcast where we focus on cultivating the culture. Obviously, what that looks like is we bring amazing guests up on this show who share stories of them, their team, their groups, their movements, and they're staying on the up and up and representing what that means. First and foremost, I do want to say, shout out to all of the listeners who continuously support the podcast, support the platform. Man, it goes a long way, right? Mm-hmm. And keep making sure to rate, subscribe, and review, especially review. Don't worry, we're gonna tell them to like it too. Don't worry.
Go ahead.
Don't jump. Make sure to review, man. I love getting the feedback, man. I love getting the insight on how these episodes are impacting our listeners, man, because it really does, man. These stories go a long way. Yep. Also, if you want to stay connected, make sure to follow us on all social media platforms at _TheUpNUp. As well as I'm also going to mention, if you can see here on the table, we have the very, very fresh, dope Cultivate Culture, limited edition Cultivate Culture dad hat. So if you want to tap in and purchase one of those hats, make sure to hit us up at _TheUpNUp. And online store coming soon. Right?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. Be on the lookout.
Yeah, Erm's excited about that.
Yeah.
Stay fresh. All right, man. Now, if you're a consistent listener, you already know what this is about, man. We always bring the guests, right, with the best. Mm-hmm. That's my new way. That's the new way. I'm just gonna bring that in now. The guest with the best, right? Mm-hmm. And someone with a compelling story, someone who's gonna represent a group of people who need representation, right? And so I would say this person, actually, this woman is someone who's very mission driven, and I would say is motivated. And strongly rooted in trying to elevate women and also bring more equality to women, and all women, right? Yeah. Especially women of color. I would say she's a young visionary who's keeping everything she's doing on the up and up, right? Obviously, otherwise she wouldn't be with us tonight on this rainy evening. All right. Man, yeah, Seattle, come on, man. We need some better weather. I'm sorry, man. Just to kind of give people a rundown on, some of the things she's been involved in along her journey. She's a passionate women's rights advocate, more specifically an equal pay champion, a community builder, all wrapped into one, man. That's like a superhero right there, right?
Yeah.
Right? Just hit you with all the weapons, man, right? Just to kind of run down some of the things she's been involved with. She is the former head of Hustle for Ladies Get Paid, which is a global 35,000 plus member community of women whose mission is to close the gender wage gap. That's big, man. 35,000 women riding, man. That's a big thing, man. That's a big deal. She's also former head of marketing and business development and partnerships at Female Founders Alliance, which is a private network for female founders and CEOs whose mission is to close the investment gap for female startups. Let's just get straight to it, man. Let's just get straight to it. Our guest is none other, man. Actually, no. I also want to mention she's here as well to share with us the story of her leading up to her launch of her new company, Future for Us, which is focused on the advancement of women in color in the professional space and the workplace as well. So without further ado, our guest is none other than the mission-driven and female power player, Sage. Please tell me, Sage Quiamno.
Quiamno.
Okay, yeah. Quiamno.
Yeah, thank you.
I have this thing where I butcher people's names.
It's
Even
all
if you
good.
tell me, I'm just going to butcher it. So thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Thank you for being here, man.
Of course. No, it's an honor to be here. This is a dope podcast. So thank you so
Appreciate
much.
it.
Thank you for coming. Of
course.
Yeah, you came in with good vibes, man. You're bringing that energy.
I
It's
felt
the Hawaiian vibes,
The
man.
Hawaiian
You can.
vibes.
It's that island vibes. We're always welcoming. We're so
Yes,
friendly, and
yes.
it's all about love, man.
We're spreading
That's what
love.
it is.
2019, island vibes and love.
Yes.
All right, so if you're familiar with the show, which a lot of our consistent listeners are, we usually start the show off with the quote of the day. This is just something to set the vibe, right? Set the mood right. And you know my guy across the way here, quote man,
That's me.
Okay.
Yeah, that's him right there. What you got for us today, man?
So the quote for the day today is, unless the issue of the empowerment of women is addressed, the practice of women being unfairly treated will remain unresolved.
And who's that by?
I might butcher this name too. Actually, no, I think it's Kapil Sabal.
Kapil Sabal.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I don't know who you are, but that's a dope quote.
yeah, you bring the great quotes.
Yeah.
We just gotta get the names.
Yeah, I gotta get that. That's another New Year's resolution.
There you go. So for the people in the back, man, who need to hear that
Run it
most,
back?
run it back.
Yep.
Run it
All
back
right.
for them.
So the quote is, unless the issue of the empowerment of women is addressed, the practice of women being unfairly treated will remain unresolved.
I like that. I like that quote because it's kind of speaking to both sides of the spectrum, right?
Yeah.
Right. Talking about what's currently happening and what's leading to the issue, and how if you want to solve the issue, what needs to be done. And that's kind of what I pulled all in one, right? Now we obviously bring in the quotes because we want something that'll tie into our guest story, obviously. And with everything you're doing, obviously being on the front lines, trying to help raise awareness and make changes for women. Women of color in all aspects. We also want to make sure that people understand when we bring guests up here, it's all about like just talking about the build-up and the journey, right? What did I say? We provide context to your success. That's essentially what this platform is for. So before we get into everything you're currently involved in and what you got coming down the line, let's take it back. Let's take it back to Hawaii, right? Is that where you grew up?
Yep, exactly.
Let's take it back to the islands, man. So tell us about growing up out there and I guess kind of how that shaped, the Sage story and how we got here today.
Awesome. Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm Sage Kealohilani Quiamno. That's my full name. Kealohilani means...
Thank God you did not make me pronounce that.
Yeah, it's like 12 letters. So Kealohilani means heavenly brightness. And I always open that because being Hawaiian means being proud of who you are, where you come from, your language. And also, as Hawaiians, we're very metaphoric. We love language. We love music. We love poetry. This is kind of our wheelhouse, like any other, people of color. We just come from a very strong cultural background. So I always like to lead in that. Yeah, so, I'm a 27-year-old Native Hawaiian Filipino Chinese woman who moved to Seattle 5 years ago. I graduated from college from the University of Hawaii and got a job at Amazon. So I moved out here. But my background is I come from a really strong matriarchal family. What really sparked my interest in gender equality was that, my great-grandma raised me. Not in a lot of typical modern families, you have an older generation taking care of the young, honestly. You usually don't have that. Multi-generational families is not the norm anymore. So, and her story is that she was a Chinese immigrant and she worked on the Dole Plantation. And Dole Plantation is a pineapple plantation. So Dole pineapple cannery brought a lot of immigrants to Hawaii. Okay. So Filipino, Chinese, Portuguese, all over the world. And she was working on a plant for, I think, 10 cents an hour.
Wow.
Okay, canning pineapple. Okay.
Wow.
Have you guys ever like sliced a pineapple before?
Wow.
Nah.
No. Okay. Yeah.
I haven't, but it's work. I've seen it.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. So she was the oldest of 14 brothers and sisters, and she was one of the she had to make money to pretty much clothe and feed her other her brothers and sisters. So she found a way to negotiate her pay because she knew that if I make 10 cents an hour, there's no way that I can, support my family. So she decided to talk to the supervisor and said, hey, I'm a Chinese immigrant. I can speak Cantonese. If I can recruit more Chinese immigrants who speak Cantonese, then would you, increase my pay to 15 cents an hour? And then also promise me that perhaps I could take over your job later. So that's essentially what happened.
Forward thinking.
Yeah,
very forward
for real.
thinking.
Yeah, and this was like in the 1940s
Yeah.
and 1950s. Like,
Exactly.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
And she's a small Chinese woman.
Yeah, and it's crazy because,
crazy.
at that time, how often are you seeing different examples of how you can even go to your boss and say something like that, right? So that's kind of like a trailblazer in a sense, right?
She definitely was a trailblazer. She was a pioneer, and for her, it was just, she was also extremely humble and grateful for what she had. But she knew her talents, her strengths, and then wield that power to benefit herself and her community, her family. And that kind of like really ingrained my mentality of who I am and what I want to give, what I want to show for other women, especially women of color, because we, the stats right now is that women of color only make 4% of C-suite level. So 4% of women of color are CEOs.
Wow.
It's really, 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 really disheartening. And also 12% upper management, middle management, entry level, and then 50% of women of color in the U.S. are low-wage jobs, are taking low-wage jobs. And, when I think of that, I think of my mom, I think of my grandma, I think of my great-grandma. Like, we all come from women of color.
Yeah, for sure.
Our mothers are women of color, so I believe there's a vision that women of color here in the United States deserve a better opportunity and a better chance for leadership.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Most
so
definitely.
that kind of comes from my great grandmother, and it's multiracial, multicultural family, and just a big loud family. And I love home. At 22 I needed to leave. I had island fever. You know everybody.
Yeah.
I wanted to try and take a chance and just leave. And I come from a working class family, so when you say you're leaving, you're on your own.
Yeah.
You're on your own,
for real.
kid. My dad was like, see you later.
Yeah.
If you don't have any money, we're not going to support you. You got to get your butt back home if you don't.
So you have to have a certain level of conviction with making that decision. And so I'm glad you kind of touched on the early influence your grandmother had on you growing up. But growing up also, like most people, most kids or youth, they have dreams, they have aspirations. For you, what were some of your career aspirations growing up? Like, did you kind of have a picture of, okay, say in 15 years, this is what Sage is going to be doing? Or was it just kind of like, I just need to get out of Hawaii and figure it out? What was it like for you?
Yeah, I've always been a very driven, ambitious kid. I was class president for I was a class president, 6th grade, 8th grade, junior year, and then also a senator in college. Like, I just loved, working kind of like politically and like how do you make policy change and how you make make that, kind of how do you affect your community, right?
Gotcha.
And also bring visibility for people of color, kids of color, students of color in student government. So when I was younger, I always wanted to be like a lawyer and attorney. I saw Legally Blonde. Oh my God, it's like a bad example, but like
talking about representation, right?
yeah, exactly. But like she proved a lot of people wrong. And besides Legally Blonde, but like I loved debating. I love presenting it. I love building an argument. I love somebody opposing me and bringing up good points, right? And then how to use persuasion, right? Everything from your physical appearance, whether you're using, this is like an old saying, like my speech and debate coach, Mr. Lawler. Shout out to Mr. Lawler.
Shout out Mr. Lawler.
Yeah, Mr. Lawler's God. Anyways, he really taught me how to present an argument and how to be persuasive. You use like a Latin concept, whereas logos, pathos, and ethos. Like how do you persuade someone using logic, using emotion, right? So different ways of doing that. I've always was so curious because like how do people move around? How do people obtain power, and how do you have people attracted to you? Like that I was so curious. I mean, that's why I was really gravitating towards marketing.
Okay.
Because the way that, because I mean, I grew up in the '90s.
Yeah.
You were raised by the television. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for real.
TV, music, all that good stuff. And highly influenced. Like my parents were working their butts off, and I never saw them. And there's a television, and all these messages, and the visuals, and the audio. Like, how does that cater to a certain audience, and how does that they influence somebody to do something.
And manipulate people too.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah,
Fake news,
because
right?
it happens.
Yeah, it happens. Like that's
Yeah.
what's going on with social media. Is the pioneers like Mark Zuckerberg, like build a platform, and there's no regulations for it, right?
Yeah.
So it's a wild west.
That's
so
right.
like nobody's technology has kind of moved so fast that everybody had to keep up for it. So anyways, besides that, we're ranting
no,
on.
that's real.
Yeah.
That's real though.
So
That's
I
real.
always like to ask this for people who aren't from Seattle but move here. Like, how was that transition when you first got here?
Oof.
Especially from the islands.
Yeah, because I'll go
From
on
the
vacation
islands.
and I'll be like, oh man, I want to move to this place. Like if I go visit, but I never did it. You know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I just want to know how it was for you.
Oh, it was tough. It was super tough. So I moved here, wide-eyed, just looking around, because I've never been in a city an actual city, and even compared to the United States, this is not really a city. And also just a different culture in terms of passive aggressiveness and not willing to not share, but like kind of like not sharing. It's like a westernized culture, because I'm not a westernized culture.
Yeah.
We're about inclusiveness. Like I bring my friends over. Like if somebody,
yeah.
like I always invite somebody, because like you never want to be excluded.
Yeah.
Like I know how that feels.
Seattle's getting that reputation, man. That's what I
I
keep
know.
feeling. The freeze, bro. That's what they keep calling it.
Yeah,
The freeze.
Yeah.
and like chill, like
Yeah.
everybody just relax.
Yeah, breathe.
breathe. Like everything is cool, man. Like that's such a Hawaii vibe. So it was really difficult because I lived on Capitol Hill for like 5 years, and my first couple of years, all my friends were white.
Yeah.
Which was crazy to me because that was the first time I've ever had all white friends.
Yeah.
And Capitol Hill too is like it's working on it, but it's not as diverse as it was. I mean, you're a Seattle native.
No,
you
I
can tell
mean,
me.
Yeah. No,
the-
you're right.
The
You're
changes are evident. Like you could just see them, right? Even if you're not from here,
Yeah.
you could tell.
Yeah, and to me it's really sad because like you see these like African American art, murals and stuff, and it feels like it's relics because you're like these
Yeah.
people are not even
Yeah.
the families, the businesses are not there anymore.
Who's there to actually enjoy the art, right? Who's there to take it in? Who's there to experience it?
Exactly.
That's what it's really about.
And
yeah.
I understand the hurt in it because from Hawaii, we're the same way. Development, tourists coming in and actually staying there, buying condos and kind of redeveloping the land.
Yeah.
But like my people, our culture, our indigenous culture, land is it. That is us.
Yeah.
So we call it Aina. So the Aina is us. So it's I completely understand where you just see your home is being totally changed and transformed. Yeah.
Well, and it's happening. It's not just happening here. It's happening everywhere. But since we
Correct,
do
yeah.
live here, it's always important to address that. Now, I do also want to get into. Obviously, you said you came in to Seattle and you started working for Amazon. And this is something I always was curious, and you being knowledgeable about women's rights, right, and women equality and inequality that exists.
Yeah.
Did you find yourself sometimes, because I feel like people oftentimes get lost in just wanting to fit in and get a spot or earn a spot, that you kind of lose sense of the mission or the fight or the cause because you're like, I don't want to disrupt nothing. I just want to get in and do my job. Did you have to deal with that at first?
Exactly. Yeah. Especially when you're a woman of color, when you're a POC, when you're a person of color, you got to that point of getting a great full-time job. Your family sacrificed for you to go to school. I've got a full scholarship to UH. Like there was so many steps for you to be there, and that if you make waves, there's gonna be some kind of consequences because they're expecting that from you. And for me, I really have my background. I grew up in an all-girls Catholic school setting, so very kind of oppressive and very structured. And I knew the own biases within that Catholic religious school structure of sexism and gender inequality.
Yeah.
And I hated control. I really hated it. I moved here, just didn't want to make waves, just rolled with the punches, and I was miserable, absolutely miserable. I knew I was making 30% less than my white male colleagues. I knew that everybody else around me, I knew that you could see another person of color in a company and be like,
yeah,
like that.
Yeah.
It's
that look.
It's that look. and
Everybody
you're
knows. Everybody knows that look.
Everybody knows that look, and you're just like, oh, you're not gonna say, yeah, I'm not gonna say anything.
Yeah.
And it's like that weird moment of like, why are we doing this? Why are we not having these conversations? And then why are we not building the dialogue for it? So like, to me, that's just why diversity, equity, inclusion is so important right now. And my work is that, you know, I got passionate about it because I successfully negotiated my salary 3 times. But I did not have the training. I don't have parents. Like, I can't call my mom like, Mom, like, I'm sad. I need to fight. Like, can you help me?
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't have that.
Yeah.
My parents are like, suck it up. Let's go.
Figure
like,
it out. We have to work hard, so you gonna work even harder.
Exactly.
You
It's
have
called
to.
Google. You know what I mean? And I'm like, damn, Mom, why are you a savage? I just want to cry. Like, I just want to cry to you, but whatever. And that's what you learn. That's why women of power is so. I mean, women of color are so powerful, because it's like you are born into a lens of an intersectional lens. You learn you know that you're a woman, and you know that you are one of color. So you understand that you have to play these parts. You have to code switch. You have to learn other people's personalities, and kind of it's self-preservation, as a lot of POCs know. It's like, how am I going to preserve myself to get to a point of leadership so I can affect change going down, right?
Wow.
So it's about self-preservation, because every person of color deals with discrimination at work at any level.
That's tough,
I don't
man.
care. I don't care what you say. I have so many POC men, guy friends who always say like, "Oh no, I've never been discriminated." I'm like, you probably did.
Yeah.
You probably did, and you just didn't. You're not aware.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
not
you
woke.
just didn't notice.
If you're not
Yeah,
woke,
yeah.
no, there's people who are like zombies up in these corporate offices, and I see it. I think everybody's seen a couple zombies, right? People of color who are zombies. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it can. And that right there can also make you feel like you're alone, right? You're like, dude, let's band together. Do I have your support or not? And
Exactly.
I think that is an important conversation to have.
Yeah, and there's so
For
many
sure.
ways of having these conversations now, because now we're community building. So from my my experience in salary negotiation, like I did a real estate job. I was doing real estate development, and I was working with like 2 young male colleagues, and they were my bosses, and they were making $100K a month. Okay.
A month?
A month.
Wow.
Okay. So all these guys who are doing all the big construction out here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Talk
Yeah.
about land acquisition. You guys want to talk money? Like, that's money.
Mm.
Like 100K, easy. Not a big deal. So these guys were racking in this money, and I was just frustrated because like I am making less than my market average. So I approached them. I got the job, but also like I was dealing with a lot of microaggressions in the office. I was called a coffee diva once. Like, I was
Coffee diva?
Coffee diva. Okay, so this guy comes in, my boss comes in, and there's 5 people in the office, and there's like sales guys and me, and I'm like the little brown girl, and he's like, Sage, you want to be the coffee diva today and make some coffee? And I looked at him like,
Wow.
No.
Like, dude, do you hear yourself?
Yeah, and I'm a millennial woman. Like, I don't care, because I
Yeah.
know how good I am at my job. So
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I don't know. But Dan over there in sales, he's watching Office episodes, and I think he can
Yeah.
go over there and make some coffee. Yeah, Dan? I think you're
Yeah,
I think you got
I mean,
it.
it's kind of
Wow.
like that. It's kind of like that. Hey, the bully's picking on me, so I'm gonna go grab a bunch of people and go try to gang up on the bully, right? And I feel like that's essentially how they feel. They feel confident. They feel strong. Just knowing that, hey, okay, I got all these people around me. I can say whatever I want, and it won't offend any of them. It might offend her, but she's the minority, right? And I see that a lot. I've dealt with that a lot too.
Yeah.
Like just slick little comments. You know
it's
what I mean?
literally microaggressions, and
Yeah,
these
yeah.
microaggressions accumulate until you get a reaction, right? Like, I mean, I'm really talking about race right now, but like, the thing is like, they are trying to get you to be angry.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about our culture, is that we're not trained for that. Like, oh, why are we angry? It's because we have these little microaggressions in our lives. Like, why is somebody always trying to get at me? I feel like
Yeah.
someone is
Yeah.
always trying to like mess with me.
Yeah.
And you think you're crazy until you're like psychologically like, in that cycle. But you have to understand that you are one piece of the society.
Yeah.
And there's things, you're a part of a bigger system that's not made for you.
Exactly.
So how can you, again, self-preservation, how do you preserve yourself to work through these systems to get to a position of power so you can influence.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the pathway to power in some of the sense. But and then so then I went to a ladies get paid event, and that kind of really opened my eyes to see women from age 22 to 60 talk about pay equity, about how much they make. money is such a taboo subject. Nobody wants to talk about how much they actually make because it's like a taboo subject.
Yeah.
You know, but if we don't have transparency, it's just like your finances. If you don't talk about it, you're not going to get anywhere.
You're not going to address it.
You're not going to address it.
Yeah.
So for us, it was really tremendous and an eye-opening experience to be like, these women from all different types of companies, like big companies.
Where was that event held?
It was at Impact Hub. It was about 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going through a really bad breakup, and I was like, I need inspiration. Who am I? Right? Like, who am I as a woman, as a person of color? How do I want to influence and serve the world? Like, who is the group that I want to serve, and how do I want to serve them? And I wanted to get I just was like, every panel, every event, every workshop in Seattle, because there's a ton, which I love. And I wanted to get inspired by something. Yeah. And as a Hawaiian, it's like, it's about storytelling, and that's the fun part. So Found Ladies Get Paid. I founded this Ladies Get Paid Seattle chapter here. I was doing events on my own. There's like 150 women per month, sold out.
Wow.
Yeah, sold out every
That's
month.
big.
Yeah.
Did salary negotiations, got big VPs from different corporations to talk about it.
And this is while you're working at Amazon still, right?
At the real estate company.
At the real estate company.
Yeah, so I was doing a full-time job,
Yeah.
hustling, doing that, like any other.
Well, no, but that's the
person.
thing. I think, because sometimes people can misinterpret, like, what success looks like, right? And so we'll have guests on this show who talk about the amazing things they do, the hard work they put in, and people think that, you know, they're not just like them, right? They're not just like the ordinary person who just had more grit and who put in more work. So that's why I asked to share that, hey, yeah, it's okay to have that 9-to-5 hustle that's fueling your passion project, right?
Oh yeah, I'm all about it. See, the thing is,
sure.
like, there's a lot of startup community out here that, like, oh, you're not taking your business seriously if you don't quit your job and do this full time. That's complete BS. Because as POCs and a lot of people who are disenfranchised, you have to make a paycheck and pay your bills. You cannot expect, because a lot of these startup companies and founders, they're privileged.
Oh yeah,
they have a significant other who's making that Google like $200K salary. They have a Queen
Uncle Rick's writing that check. Like, hey, here you go,
exactly.
son.
Like, you know, Donald Trump got a freaking $2 million loan from his father.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have that. I don't have a loan.
It's not normal.
I wish.
It's not normal, but that's the startup landscape.
For sure.
You know, like people at the top, these younger guys have the checks from their families. You know, they are able to get that startup capital, whereas a lot of us don't. You know, we're starting literally from the bottom, not even the bottom, but even worse than that. So for us, it's like, okay, so how do I make myself get financially stable to where I can like just live and then build this company, right? Bootstrap, just like meet everybody, you know, get the meetings, all that good stuff. So, and through my Ladies Get Paid events, they hired me on full time because they're like, they're two founders from New York, and they're like, you are doing this. Yeah. This is crazy. Yeah. You're selling out these events like on your own.
What are you doing? What's the trick?
Yeah. So I did that, and I traveled across the country, and I taught salary negotiation classes. I spoke to 4,000 women, and helped get $500K and salary increases.
Wow.
Yeah, and helped get.
That's powerful.
Yeah. I know. When I quantified, I was like, "What?
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
$500,000 for women. Let's go."
But that's
Let's
a lot of overdue, deserved money too.
Exactly, overdue. So it's like not even.
You can't even really celebrate it because you're like, we should have been had this.
And there's like more to get. You know,
exactly.
like it's not over.
Exactly.
It's literally 3 times more.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah. So for that, I mean, we think three times more. I could have helped women like what 1.2, like 1.15 mil. You know, and that to me, and I positioned 150 women to get into promotions, so 150 promotions.
Wow.
In a year.
That's impact right there.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. Yeah. That's what it's about. And it's good that you can reflect and share those. Sometimes people just want to, just throw stats out there just to throw them out there, and it's like, what the hell do your stats even mean? So sometimes people just throw stats out there. I'm like, dude, what are you saying to me right now? Yeah. But when you know what I'm saying, these stats matter right here, right?
For sure, and
you can feel that.
And I think with women of color, especially, I mean, I understand where I'm coming from. Like, I'm a small Hawaiian girl from the islands, and it's hard for people to take me seriously, you know? And then when I show them my numbers and I show them what I've done, they're like, oh, wow.
Yeah, it changes everything.
Yeah, because, also too, I don't have an Ivy League school degree. You know what I mean? I don't come from a background like that. I come from a working class background. I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of it. And that's what the thing is, like, we have this weird like elitist society in Seattle where it's like, yes, my kids went to Harvard or whatever and all that kind of good stuff. I'm like, that's fantastic, but guess what? I'm not in debt.
Yeah.
Like I'm not in debt. I worked my way through college. I know how to hustle. I know how to get there.
Yeah.
I have a goal. I'm ambitious. I know how to the steps to get where I want to get.
Yeah, it's a mentality.
Yeah, and I think like, people that do have that Ivy League degree or something might try to come into space and get lost.
Yeah.
But it's like you experienced it. You've seen it your whole life. You've been a part of it. So it's easy for you to like fight for, women empowerment and everything like that.
Yeah.
And like wages and everything, because you kind of experienced that. So
Yeah,
it makes
yeah.
sense,
You lived it.
I lived it, and I don't
Yeah.
like. My dream is that I never want my daughter or like young women of color, just girls, think that they didn't have a chance at any opportunity because they deserve it. Women of color deserve. Girls of color deserve it.
Yes,
they do.
and
to me, I'm willing to put myself out there to fight for that fight because. Like we see it now, like all these women of color are in Congress now. Like, like Alexandra
that's
right
big.
now is killing it.
That's big, man.
Yeah, and she's from the Bronx. She's a Puerto Rican from the Bronx. She's Latina. She's out there calling it out.
And I love when they expose those like just those images, right? And because we don't see it,
Exactly.
And even as men, like I can speak as a male, like we're happy to see that, but I want to see more of it. Like I want it to become normal, right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes people will see things and they'll be like, "Oh, that's cool," and you never see it again.
They think it's a one-off, just like
it's
Oprah.
like a one, exactly, right?
Like she was the first, female.
Yeah, representation,
billionaire.
man, it matters. It matters.
It's pattern matching in the startup world.
So I have a question because your experiences with ladies get paid. I was about to say ladies who hustle. Y'all know what they do.
Yeah.
Ladies get paid. Your experiences within that and then all the other groups and events that you've been a part of. Growing up, I always hear that phrase from women, like, you don't need a man for nothing, right? And it's true. It's true. Like you guys don't, but you're actually putting into action and representing how important it is for women to unite and actually support each other, right?
Correct.
Because without you guys using each other as resources, it's one thing to say that I don't need a man, but it's another thing to say I really don't need one because I got other women who can support me.
Yeah.
Right. So talk about that because I think that what you're doing speaks to that as well, right?
Yeah, and I want to just make sure that I get the messaging right because we do need men.
Yeah.
We need men like you guys, amplifying women of color like myself.
Yeah.
Male allyship is not a conversation we are talking about, and that's what I want to
yeah.
change with my company, with Future for Us, is that a lot of these feminist brands and companies are not allowing men to come into the conversation, but we need to work together to discuss, all these issues. And we have to make this as important because to me, I care about men deeply because I understand the pressure that you guys have to go through, toxic masculinity, pressures on your family, having to support other, your family. Like it's a lot.
Yeah. And even like talking about it from a male's perspective, like I've met women who are like, dude, shut the hell up. I don't want to hear nothing you have to say. Like you don't know what it's like, and I'm like, you know what, you're right, I'm gonna just shut up. And then they're like, wait, why don't you say something? I'm like, well, shit, you just told me to shut up, so I think we just need to be more educated overall.
It's the dialogue, right? And I feel like exactly. If we approach things with empathy, right, and understanding, like, I want to hear your story, right? So why do you think that way? It's always starting with that, because trust me, I've had a lot of crazy male like encounters before, but for me it's like, okay, what's the root, right? And there's people got to be to that point where they're ready for the conversation, but I always will understand that men need to be a part of this conversation. But yes, women technically don't need men in their lives to succeed.
It's a stigma. I just think it needs to kind of get rid of or get eradicated, because it's not true. It
definitely isn't. And I just want I feel like there's such a journey in a woman's life. Like it's always a phoenix and rising from the ashes kind of story where, like, you get everyone cheers you on as a young girl. Like, you're just like, yeah, you're the, you have all these opportunities. Like Steph Curry's like daughter, like, she was writing to the sneaker shop company because she was like, there's not a shoe in my dad's shoes. There's not a size in girls. Like, what's going on? And everybody's like, great. And it was great, but also like, she could not get that traction if she was a woman, like an older woman, you know? And that's where we have to think about. It's like, we are not supporting women, you know? Like, and there's a journey of like, we go through traumatic stages, you know? And then all of a sudden we realize who we are and we realize our own power, our own value, our own talents. And then we use that to support, not only support ourselves, but also our communities around us.
Exactly.
And women are so great about coming together and sharing, you know, and that's different from men, you know, like historically men have not been like that, but you know, we can make an argument that like, you know, men make a lot of deals, you know, men go on golf courses and make deals. They talk money, they talk straight, they're fully transparent because it's it's competition of how much money you make, and I can make more money than that, and I'm going to give you a deal, you know, so I want to bring that conversation into for women, like, let's give each other contacts. Let's talk about business. Let's get each other money. What's the next contract? Oh, you want a new job? Let's. I'm gonna connect you with this person. Let's do this.
Start networking.
Start
connecting.
The power of networking. I swear to God, it's like it's a dying art. It's such a dying art these days. And like, to me, it's like, I'm lucky that we have, you know, we all have personalities, and I feel bad for the introvert out there, but like, if you just push yourself to meet somebody and listen to their stories and understand that every opportunity can turn into something.
Oh,
right? Like,
that's real.
I'm going to be completely honest. Like, I was on Instagram story and I think it's like a public journal for myself.
Okay.
And I said, my goal was to interview Arlan Hamilton, CEO of Backstage Capital, live on stage in 2019.
You just put it into the universe.
And I tagged her. And she replied back saying, let's make this happen, Sage.
Wow.
Literally.
Wow.
Yes. She built a $36 million fund for Black female founders this year. She started 4 accelerator programs in LA, Detroit, Philly, and London.
Wow.
She is representing POCs.
And what's her name again?
Arlan Hamilton, CEO of
Arlan
Backstage
Hamilton.
Capital, yes. She is truly making waves in the startup industry and also in Silicon Valley. She is calling it out and representing underrepresented startup founders.
Yeah.
So, you know, she made waves, and she was a cover of Fast Company, started that $36 million fund for Black female founders. She's Black, she's queer, she's from Houston, she's from Texas. So she was one of my biggest idols because she's being, you know, she's putting herself out there.
And so you got to interview her.
No, so I'm going to interview her this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's in the works.
It's coming.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Putting things in the universe, man. I'm telling you, it's like you know, I feel like if you do well and you mean well and you just, you know, like, I think the universe, and you work hard, the universe will come to you. I mean, I don't want to be ignorant and say that, but like, you know, some people are not. I'm very privileged to be here right now, but you know, I think your time will come. Everybody's time will come. Everybody's time will come if you put in the work. You are intentional. You are inclusive. Things will come to you.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like this is my year, and I am not going to be shy about it. I'm an ambitious woman who's been working my butt off for a long time, and
Talk about it.
You know, that's why I started Future for Us. So, but after Ladies Get Paid, I joined the Female Founders Alliance, and I helped build an accelerator program with my team, and we got 8 female founders from across the U.S. And did an accelerator program. And what an accelerator program is, basically a like an intensive program to help you get your startup going. Okay. So it's like you get legal help, you get pitch help, you get mentors from who've started startup companies, and then you have an actual big pitch demo day where you go in front of a bunch of investors and you pitch. So that was a great experience because I found out from the back end what female founder, like, what do you know, a founder goes through. Yeah.
Like what it takes.
What it takes. Yeah.
In different aspects too, because everybody's coming at you with different business propositions, different ideas from different backgrounds, trying to solve different issues with their business or with their product. So, I think, man, it's crazy that you've done so much, and you're only 27?
Yeah, I'm 27. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
The power of the hustle, the power of the grind. But now, also, because you obviously have had encounters with a lot of power players, I would say, especially in the city, right? And so for those listeners and viewers, especially those who live within the city, people of color, underrepresented communities, I'm curious to know, in your dealings and workings within power players in the city who obviously don't represent us, do they really care? And do they really want to help? Because
Wow, put me on the spot, right?
no. I mean, and you don't got to speak for them, but just speak from your experiences of working with them. Because there's a lot of dope shit. There's a lot of talent. There's a lot of amazing groups, individuals, and people who are just doing things in this city that aren't necessarily. They might get recognition, but as far as the financial backing that we know the city has, that's going towards other things that aren't really, highlighting the true essence of what exists in this city. What would you say your experiences are dealing with those type of people?
So people who are saying that they're supporting POC
Yeah, so
founders?
pretty much the people who have the resources and whatnot, but don't necessarily come from our background, but can definitely make changes.
Yeah. Gosh, they always say that it's a pipeline problem. Like, oh, there's not enough Black and brown founders starting companies. That's BS.
Yeah.
That's what they say about recruiting, right? Recruiting, POCs is that, oh, there's a pipeline. There's not enough qualified candidates,
exactly.
right? Which is very unfortunate. That's just racism. I'm gonna put it right there. I'm gonna get in trouble being on there, but but
nah,
to me,
not on here.
I just to me is like, I want to call. Nobody calls it out. You know what I mean? And yes, there's a lot of people throwing diversity, equity, inclusion out there and trying to support, but that's the problem about white supremacy. And that's the thing about whiteness and white fragility is that you don't know how to make dialogue, right? You do not how to it's like a white savior complex, right? Like it's a like kind of like you talking about colonization where they come to different companies and like, oh, we're missionaries and we know exactly what you guys need.
Yeah,
that's exactly what they do to POCs in today modern society.
Yeah,
and that's not correct.
Yeah,
So my opinion is that there's a lot of work to be done. They need to diversify in terms of leadership. They need to actually talk to communities.
Yeah.
Get your butts out there.
Get to know us. Like,
get to know people.
Yeah, get to know people. Like, it's crazy. Like, I hate that they throw diversity out there, man.
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean?
That's what I'm
Tell
saying,
me what
man.
that means to you, right? Like, because we see it a lot,
So on the flip side, like, how important is it to really, because obviously you partnered and talked to a lot of different companies, people, regardless. So how important is that? Like,
yeah, it's super important to me because I'm a woman of color who doesn't have a lot of resources. I don't come from an Ivy League school background with an Ivy League school network. I'm starting from scratch.
Yeah.
So I've leveraged all of my networks from all my previous jobs. I've done a great job. I show up online for these high, these VPs, these people who have power. I tag them. I post about them. I go to their events, and these are the little ways that you can get in front of them. Right. If you don't get the meeting, they will know you if you start talking to them. That's why I've been posting about Arlan for a long time. That's why she knows my track record. I flew to Philly to go see her at the Black and Brown Founders conference, the North Star conference, and took a photo with her. Like this is how hard you got to work, right? Like I quit my job a month and a half ago, and I pitched about 53 times. I raised $150,000 to start.
Wow. All in 2018.
Literally in a month and a half.
What?
damn.
Yeah. So for me, because this is not a joke. Like
hold up.
Yeah, I feel you though.
Hold up. 1 month, 53 pitches, or month and a half, I guess.
Yeah, a month and a half.
Wow.
50. Oh, actually, I'm 53. 55 today.
Okay.
And then raised 150K.
Wow.
And launch party next week,
Hey,
guys.
we're gonna get into that.
Yes.
So wait.
Please.
Yeah. Okay. So now I'm glad you brought up the pitching, right? Because again, people have ideas. Like, how many people come up to you in general, even people in this room, how many people come up to you and like, yo, I got an idea. I want to do this. So for you, doing that many pitches, from the first pitch to the 53rd or 54th, and I'm sure they're going to continue, but did your pitch ever change? Did you ever like get feedback and had to readjust it and change it? Because some people are stubborn in their ideas and don't think that they need to change. They're like, no, this is how it's going to be.
They're not a founder then. Yeah, you as an entrepreneur and as a founder, you literally are learning as you go. You mold, you change, you adjust to your audience, you understand. So you ask for the people you're pitching for their feedback. You change it, and then you slowly evolve, right? You change, you even change your business plan, your model. You have to understand that you have to adjust to your customers. What's going to make you money at the end of the day? How are you going to make revenue to make this into a 3, 5 year, 10-year company? Or you want to sell, so how do we generate revenue? How do we start our customer base? And that's what it's all about. It's like being able to be, malleable, right? You are strong in who you are and what you stand for in the company, but you're also malleable to adjust, right? You're able to in Hawaiian culture we have a metaphor. It's like this it's a tree, and it's strong in its roots, but when the wind comes it can move. And that's kind of like a really good metaphor for me when I think about when I go into a pitch, is that you are here presenting your dream, but also you have to be willing and humble enough to take feedback. And a lot of people don't know how to take feedback. I'm telling you right now. And that's what you have to learn, is that you are here to learn about this. So that's kind of how I think about it. And trust me, like, I'm not perfect either.
Yeah.
Even though I pitched 53 times, I've had to get my butt handed to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's the fun part, because you have somebody willing to tell you that's crap.
Exactly.
I always be talking about
care.
that too. Like if I was starting something and everything just ran smoothly, I'm like, all right, I would kind of feel a little uneasy.
Yeah.
They're lying to you.
Yeah, I need something to really just smack me in my
Yeah.
face.
They're trying to get you to move along. Like,
Yeah. So
that's real.
I
That's
just got
real.
accepted to the Founders Institute Accelerator program, and I just started last night.
Hey.
And it's a 3-month program to really kick your butt as a founder, and
Yeah.
they have mentors to review you. So from building a accelerator program to actually being in one in about less than 6 months
Yeah.
is kind of gnarly. It's
Yeah.
kind of crazy.
Do you ever get time to like breathe?
Everybody
Like-
asks me that. And I'm like, oh my God.
Like chill. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I just stop. I'm like, hold up,
Yeah.
stop everything. Let me
Yeah.
breathe. Let me just chill. Let
Yeah.
me take life in.
Yeah.
How do you? I guess how do you do that and kind of balance that? Because you work hard, but health is wealth.
Yeah, the thing with me is, like, I integrate my personal life with my professional life, to be quite honest. The people I surround myself with are hustlers, are ambitious, who are kind of doing the same thing I am. Because it's, Oprah is always saying, like, it's about your energy, right?
Yeah.
And you once when you're so, when something is supposed to happen and you
Yep.
just want it so bad, like when you feel it, then everything else have to be around the same energy, because if that energy is messed up, it can't be around you,
Yeah.
because you automatically will have a sense of doubt.
That's real.
That little pebble, Oprah always says that, it's a pebble in the water. Like, you have that little bit of pebble, it's gonna make waves in your life. So like,
That's so real.
It's so real.
That's
And
so
I
real.
really had to cut down. I really had to cut down on a lot of, like, nonsense happy hours. I really need to refine who I want. I hang out with women who are a little older than me, who have a little bit more senior, experience. And I surround myself with that good energy. But I
Yeah.
also have friends who are my age, but they want to get somewhere. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? And that's what I want to be with. I want people who want better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Want better opportunities. Like, to me, that means that there's a desire, right? There's that same camaraderie of, like, you want to get somewhere, and
Yeah.
I want to get somewhere too. So how can we do this together and support, right?
Yeah.
And that's the energy that I love.
No, I
It's
like that,
crazy.
because I always phrase it as, again, there's people that are in your life that are watching you grow, and then there's people that grow with you. Simple as that. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you got to keep those people who are trying to grow with you close, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because,
That's good. I
when
like that.
when things go, things go wrong all the time in a company. Trust me, it's every day is a new story. Like, what else happened?
Oh, yeah.
Like, what else is, like, slipping through the cracks? So when you are having those bad days, because, like, people on my social media, like, a lot of people think that I'm winning all the time. Like, because I do have I'm really accelerating at a crazy rate. But because I've done the work. I've done the work for 2
Yeah.
years.
And they haven't seen the work, so
And
they're just overnight. She's
yeah.
overnight success.
Yeah, exactly. Rags to riches. And I'm like, okay,
nah.
no, dude. No, I put in the time, and I actually care about people.
Yeah.
I care about my relationships. If you ask any of my friends, I show up, man. You text me and you need something, I'm there. And that's what a lot of people don't do in Seattle in particular, is that
I'm
they
trying.
don't show
I'm trying to
up.
get better at that, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's hard.
It's hard.
It's hard because,
yeah.
like, it's like being so caught up in what you're trying to do that eventually will go towards the people, but then again, actually being available. It's a hard balance.
But,
but
it starts with the effort, though.
Yeah.
So eventually.
yeah.
Yeah, and like I'm
bad,
gonna
bro.
be
Yeah.
real.
No, you good. You good.
Is he throwing a shot at me?
Oh, I was like, Diggs right now.
No,
What
no,
Diggs?
Bro, look, bro,
It's
I can
like,
explain. See what you started?
I'm playing.
No. But that is real though. That's real. Being available, right? Being available to people. That's one of my New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
Bam, right there.
Me too.
Being more available.
It's showing up, and it's showing up that in different ways. It doesn't mean if you show like I show up to girlfriends online. So your social media community, you show up there. If you can't be present in their lives physically, show up online. Show up in life physically, or be available for a phone call, and ask them, how do you want me to kind of? It's like a love language, right? Like we talk about relationships. Like, how do I show love, and how do they show? Like, how do they want to receive love, right? And that's just like any relationship.
I got you.
And I think people I hate the word authentic because it's so blown out, but being truly authentic in the way that you care about people.
Yeah.
You know,
be genuine.
And be genuine and learn about others. Like, where do we get into society where we just don't even care, like, as a basic level human being, you know?
Yeah.
Like, oh, screw that. Like, no, man. Like, that's what it, at the end of the day, like, no matter how successful I get, it's about the people around me and my community, my family, my friends. Like, I'm nothing without them. Like, I got here because of them. You know, it wasn't all me. Yes, I had the ambition, the drive, you know, my own self, but, you know, driver. Like, I was myself. Yes, I got here, but, you know, it was my great grandmother who decided to do better for herself, to make that 10 to 15 cents an hour, that move. That's why I'm here.
Exactly.
You know, these little steps that you think that are little in your lives will affect your legacy down the road.
That's real.
You know,
That's
your
real.
family, your future, your everything.
I agree.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
So,
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
I want to get into future for us now.
Yeah, good.
So I want to let you explain that and what's the mission and everything behind it.
Yeah. And what's on the horizon for it? Because I know
what's on the
something's
horizon.
coming up around the corner.
Sweet. Yeah. So my company's called Future for Us. We are an organization to accelerate the advancement of women of color through community, culture, and career development. So right now we are going to be hosting monthly events for women of color and allies. So we're going to be switching up, so different audiences per month. And we are going to be, our big launch party is next week Thursday, at Soul Repair Shop on Capitol Hill. It's blowing up already. So I'm really excited. And, you know, a big celebration of women of color, you know, like to me, like that is just not celebrated enough. And then we have a big conference in April here in Seattle, and then we're flying to LA to do another conference. So.
Gotcha. Wow. So for all our women listeners and viewers, please tap in, because she'll get you paid.
Yes.
She'll get you paid.
Yes.
She'll get you moving forward, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
Futureforus.co. That's our website. Follow us on, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And, you know, for us, it's about, you know, we envision a world where women of color are at the highest levels of leadership through, you know, government, business, nonprofits, all that good stuff. So cross-sector wise. So, you know, and besides tech, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's so many things for tech, you know, like women.
We can do more.
And we can do more. And I believe in it. I believe that women of color out there, you guys deserve it. You are valued. I see you. I believe you. You guys are important. And I think that that's what is needed right now, because I believe that you can be a leader. Like, this needs to happen. Or, you know, the future is now. It is now.
The future is now.
Yeah.
Nah, that's real.
Yeah.
That's real. And I'm excited. We'll definitely be in attendance for the launch party.
All right.
We'll be there for sure.
Lots of ladies.
Hey.
Sorry. There's going to be a ton of women.
I'll be there. So
The worst.
she's throwing lobs, guys. All right. So I'm also gonna leave you with this last question, because I always ask this for all our guests that come on the show, and it's something to kind of sum up what we discussed, but also you know, cast ahead all the great work you're about to be doing in the future. So if you can, what is one word to describe what keeps you on the up and up?
Drive. It's just drive. Oh, relentless.
Okay.
Relentless. I think relentless is kind of our hashtag is relentless WOC. So relentless, one of color. And that the word relentless is so, like, it encompasses ambition, drive, and also understanding that no matter how many times you're going to be kicked down, you're going to come back again. It is a understanding that the journey will never end. The hard work will never end. You will always be relentless in your journey, and it's about you understanding that and always coming back. Like, that is it. That is like the epitome of anybody's journey. and especially women of color, is that, I mean, you guys got to know women of color who are the most hardworking. You must know some hardworking women of color.
We come from them.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's as simple as that. Like,
yeah.
Without them, there's no me. There's no us, right? So as men, there's none of us. So that's real.
And that's why I want to celebrate them, and I want to bring the next generation of leaders to this world, and support that and build a community so that happens quicker, because it's not happening quick enough.
No, it's gonna happen for sure.
Yeah,
it's gonna happen for sure. We just gotta stay relentless.
Exactly.
Stay relentless. Stay relentless for sure. Now, thank you for being a guest on the show first and foremost.
Yay.
I'm excited. I remember when I met you, she instantly was just like, "Yo, this is what I'm about. This is what I do," and I'm
felt it.
I'm like a bullshit person.
Exactly. I respect.
I know what I want, and that's the thing. And I'm just like, let's do this.
Yeah, but aside from you kind of explaining yourself to us when I first met you, the biggest thing was it was all rooted in impact. Like, you know what I mean? That's what it's really about. It's about how are you making impact. Some people come and tell you, "Yo, I'm trying to do this, and that," and it sounds like it's inwardly driven, like it's just all about them. And everything you're doing is for the greater good of the people, and so we commend you for that, for sure.
Thank you.
We commend you for that.
Yeah.
We wish you much success, with everything you got going.
Thank you.
And you're involved with a lot. Make sure to take some time to breathe,
I'm good, don't worry. Lots of wine out there.
Yes, yes. Any final remarks, my brother?
No, not really. I think we covered it.
Okay, well,
Sweet.
It was a pleasure.
Definitely
on the show.
Definitely. And thank you, and for all the women listeners, and for everybody listening, men or women, make sure to go support. Make sure to go, tap in. Where can they find Future for Us online?
Futureforus.co, and then Future for Us _ Future for Us _ is our Instagram handle. So please follow us.
Yes. Tap in. I'm excited. And with that being said, I think it's safe to say, Sage Quiamno.
Yes.
Did I say it right?
Dang.
I'm not gonna say the full name. Sage Quiamno is a member of the UpNUp. Yes.
Proud member. Awesome.
It's official. Awesome.